Hi, good morning, Singapore. How are you? I guess we're on our, here in the Philippines, especially here in Manila, we're already on our 34th day of quarantine. So I guess you also have your kind of lockdown, right? So we just have to hang on. Okay, just hold on. I know it's a bit hard, but well, we're trying to. I guess some of the people that were organized here by Moses here in Silvergood are doing as much as they can to reach out to you, especially to our elderlies there. We're trying to reach out to you through the arts, meaning through cooking, and how to keep yourselves healthy, how to keep yourselves busy, and exercising. Yeah, I guess I've seen that as well by our brother. Is it Shu or Lee? You're doing a good job. Thank you so much. Actually, I tried the first few steps of your exercise. It was very, very, though sometimes the aches are settling in my body. But well, we have to do what we have to do. Like exercise, get much sleep, get much rest, get eat well. Our diets should be properly monitored, especially for the elderlies, for everybody for that matter. And of course, we have the arts. I guess I've seen from the past days that we have people, singing songs to you. Okay, I have a special song. I have just this very short song that I placed in the melody to this to this verse in this very special story. And I guess the story comes from the book of Robert Munch, "Love You Forever." I'll tell that to you in the next probably the next session. But there's a portion of the story where the mother sings to her child. It goes something like this, like, "I love you forever. I like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you will be." So that's my own version of Robert Munch's song from the story "Love You Forever," and the original song that Robert Munch came up with. Went on something like this: "I love you forever. I like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." That's his version. And I guess there's so many versions of that song. And of course, well, we have people singing, we have people playing the instruments, and making such wonderful tunes for all of us to listen to. We have people who cook, like Joe. She has come up with great dishes. Japanese. I followed your Japanese dish, Joe, the one you did for the bento. And I've seen some of you doing your crafts. I've also done my own craft. But this time around, I also would like to encourage you to listen to beautiful stories done by Rosemary. Okay, Rosemary Sumaya and Sheila Wee and some other, and Shu as well. You have all of these to have for the whole week. You have us. We are with you. So this morning rather, it's 10:07 in the morning here in the Philippines, in Manila, and I guess we don't have any time difference with Singapore. So this morning I prepared this beautiful legend to you, for you rather. Well, I guess you've when there was a chance that I was in Singapore together with my family. One thing that I loved about Singapore was, like, I had a chance to visit the zoos. Okay, the zoo that you have, the Singapore Zoo. I was so excited. It brought memories of my childhood, like when I would go to this beautiful zoo. Well, for me it was already beautiful. This beautiful encounter with the animals in the zoo in Cebu, and I was really so amazed at seeing all these animals. And for me, I just, I just get so excited seeing them, seeing different creatures, such beautiful creatures being created by God. And so this morning, I came up with a story. Well, it's a legend of the first monkeys. Yep, you heard it right. The first monkeys. So, would you like to listen to that story? Okay, so here goes the legend of the first monkeys. Now, there lived a long, long time ago a king and a queen who ruled a kingdom, and it was in an island. Now, this rulers, the king was so harsh. He wasn't a good king. He wasn't a kind king. He was so harsh and cruel to his subjects. And the queen, well, she was also, she had these qualities that the people did not look upon with favor. She was very, critical with her subjects. So she didn't treat them well as much as they wanted for a queen to do. Now, the royal couple, they were very, very rich. Now, their palace, they had a huge palace, which was luxuriously furnished with furniture, with very, very expensive furniture. And then their storeroom was always filled with so much food and wine, and it was filled with delicacies coming from different places. Now, this couple, the king and the queen, they loved to have banquets all the time. Okay, they loved to throw banquets, but not to everybody in their kingdom. They were very, very selective. Now, they only invited friends that were of the same stature as they were. So meaning, they only invited the rich friends. So now, this king, he then said one day, I would like to throw a big, big banquet only for my friends, the rich, the famous, and, everybody who just, is the same as I am, said the king. So, his wish was granted. Now, he threw this party together with the queen, planning it. And they had a list, yes, that's right. We should have the king and queen of so-and-so kingdom because they are so rich. And we have to have them because, as rich as we are, we should have rich friends too. And they did just that. They had a long list of all the rich, the famous, the moneyed, the people who were of the same caliber as they were. So, the king and the queen then set a date, and they had their banquet done in the garden, in the kingdom's garden. Now, the kingdom's garden was not just an ordinary garden. It was, a big, 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 big garden, a vast one, filled with all kinds of flowers, filled with all kinds of, fruit-bearing trees, filled with so much greenery. It was the most wonderful garden in the whole kingdom. Now, he had to do that because he had to impress his friends, his rich friends. So he then said, I am going to have 3 tables for my friends, and of course, a table for me and my queen, said the king. So when all of his guests started coming in, the rich, the famous, and everybody who was who's who in the other kingdoms and in his kingdom, they were all there, seated in the long banquet tables, and they started to say to each other, hello, how are you? Ah, I am good, thank you. And some said, oh, it's so nice to see you. Well, they all greeted each other and made, chit-chat with each other. Then, suddenly, an old beggar woman entered in the garden. And she saw that there was so much food laid on the tables. All these 3 tables for the guests, and even the king and the king and the queen's table. There was so much food and wine and everything that was good to eat. Now this old beggar lady, she slowly went up to where the banquet was. So slowly, and she said to the king, she approached the king and she said, "Your Highness, I am sorry if I am going to disturb you in your very important feast, but I would like you to have pity on me, an old beggar woman. I just need to have some food. I am so hungry. Please, can you spare me some of your food and probably some of your water or wine? Because I have been so thirsty. I have traveled far, and I am hungry and thirsty, your Majesty," said the old beggar woman. Now, if you were that, if somebody approached you and asked for food and water or something to drink, what would you have done? Good. If you say that you would have done something to help them and probably something to give them to help them in their hunger and in their thirst. Very good. My heart goes with you. But in our story, well, the king did just the opposite. When he saw the beggar lady touching him, he was so mad. And he didn't say to the old beggar lady, "Hi, how are you?" No. He shouted at the beggar lady and said, "Get away from me! Ha! You are so dirty!" And the queen who was sitting beside the king, when she saw that the old beggar lady was holding on to the king rather, she went up to the beggar lady and she said, "How dare you touch my husband? Do you not know that he's the king? And he shouldn't be touched, much more by an old beggar, dirty lady like you? Get away!" said the queen. Now, the king, after hearing the queen say that, he then said more to the old beggar lady, and he said, "This party is not for you. This party is for prominent people, for rich people like me and the queen and everybody who is famous. So you do not have any place here. So go, chill, scram," said the king. Now that wasn't nice, right? That wasn't right at all. Now, you would expect somebody to stand up and say, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. That's not right." Somebody from the guests would have, said that to the king and queen. Even if they were the king and queen, somebody should have stood up and said, "Don't do that. We should be kind to her." Not one stood up for the beggar lady. Not one was kind. Instead, all the guests, when they heard the king and the queen, made fun and mocked the old beggar lady, they all burst into laughter and they said, "Good for you! Oh, serves you right." Some mockingly did that to the old beggar lady. Now, the old woman did not know what to do, and nobody Nobody cared to help her. Then suddenly, in a snap, in a flash of light, suddenly the old beggar lady disappeared. And when there was this blinding light that suddenly appeared to everybody, a beautiful maiden draped in white and gold appeared before everybody, before the king and the queen and the guests. And then she said, in a voice that penetrated everybody's heart, she then said, You are all cruel, and nobody among you has a kind heart. And because of this, all of you will be turned to animals. And as I say this, I will make sure that not a single one will be spared, said the beautiful lady. And, however, this animal that you will be transformed into, this animal will resemble like that of men, and can behave like men, but you can never be turned back into a human being again. Then the flash of light snapped and slapped, and suddenly, after the lady had said all those words, well, the spoons that the guests were used, to throw at the old lady as she was being mocked by the king and the queen. Well, there was these spoons that they used, and they threw at the old beggar lady. Now these spoons started to move, and it started to, connect at the back part of these men and women who were mocking the old woman. And suddenly, slowly, you would see that they were changed into creatures who seemed to have the same features as that of men, but the spoons were transformed into tails. And even the king and the queen, they were transformed as that of the guests, same creatures as that of the guest. And because of that, they started to grow, their hands started to grow longer, and when they would try to speak, they tried to reach out to each other, and they tried to speak using the voices, but they could only make the sound. And because of that, they saw also they were starting to grow hairs, instead of all of their splendor, all of their wonderful robes and their silky, flashy dresses. It turned into fur, into hair all over their body. And because of what has happened, they felt ashamed of their ugly appearance. And for all of them, for the guests and the king and queen, they ran as fast as they can, and they started to hide in the forest, in that lovely garden where they had lived ever since. And that, my dear friends, was the legend of how the first monkeys came about. The legend of the first monkeys. I hope you like the story. Well, probably it just tells us that in these times, if I may relate this story to everybody, I guess this is the time to be kind. This is the time that we open our hearts and we try to find ways of how we can be of help to other people. And I guess I may not have much. My family may not have much here in the Philippines, but we wish to just give what we can through our time, through our stories. And if this is a way of reaching out to everybody there in Singapore, and probably not just to the Singaporeans but to the other nationalities, the Filipinos, sa mga kababayan ko, my fellow men, my fellow Filipinos, and the other nationalities in that country, in your country there in Singapore, this is my way of saying to everyone, there is hope. We will survive this crisis, and I would just like to share this blessing of stories to everybody, this blessing of time that I can give to all of you, not just to the elderlies, but probably to the children, and even to people like me, the young at heart. Okay, but what I'm saying is, I would just like to say thank you, Singapore. Thank you very much that I am allowed, to be with you in this schedule. Okay, it's 10:24 in my watch. Thank you so much. Thank you, Moses Sia, and Lee, the admin of Silvergood, and thank you very much as well to the storytellers that I look upon. Rosemary Sumaya, Sheila Wee. Yes, okay, I remember right now. I think I have Shu. Okay, thank you so much as well. And Roger Jenkins. Hello, Roger. I hope if you see this, we send my family and I send our warmest regards to you and to your family, and to all the storytellers there in Singapore. It is my fervent desire that you're all healthy and safe rather, and you're all using your time to tell and reach out to others through your stories. After these trying times, we all have a story to tell, and what a wonderful time it would be for the community to come together and share these stories to lift each other up, stories to inspire each other, and stories to tell each other that there is hope. So once again, I'm Melody Remorca. It was an honor for me to retell rather, the legend of the first monkeys, a story that tells us that kindness is on top of things, because kindness begets kindness. And we can never go wrong if we are kind. Anybody would love to have, to be near a kind soul. So, thank you so much, Singapore. Thank you very much. Again, on behalf of my family, my husband Royce, and our children, Ezekiel, Royce, Ezekiel, Ruth Lyle, and Remarkable Elizabeth, and our village, our community, our tribe. Thank you so much, Singapore. We are very blessed to be part of you. We are one, we are in one region. I am here as an Asian to be connected with you. You're all a blessing. I could never express enough, but every time I look at how you're responding to all of these, you're a blessing to the world. Thank you, Singapore. Thank you very much, and blessings back at you, to all our friends there, to all the strangers who are listening right now. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. If I may say, through my faith, God bless each of you. And let's continue to be kind. Let's be a vessel of kindness and a channel of blessing. Again, this is Melody saying thank you. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga. Good morning, Singapore. Bye.